take a look at your Chapter 3 lab, we're going to be doing the probability game of high-low. In order to complete this lab, please make sure that you have printed out your document from your Chapter 3 module for your lab, reviewed it, and that you watched this video. Once you've completed this lab, you will make sure that you go back to your Chapter 3 module and find Chapter 3 Lab Answer Entry Sheet where you will enter your answers based on your lab results today. Right, in this lab, we're going to play the card game high-low. The goal of the game is to guess whether the next card is higher or lower than the last one that you were dealt. Since this is a statistics class, we want to use the probabilities to help us make an educated guess on the high or the low. We will play the game with the added element that you will calculate several probabilities before making your high-low guess. We're actually going to do 2 rounds of this game. We're going to play game 1, where we eliminate some of the cards and only play with 10 out of 52. This will make our probabilities a little more simple to deal with in the first game. So the materials that you need will be an optional calculator and, of course, this document. Typically, when playing that high-low game, we will use all 52 cards, excluding the jokers. But as I said, for game 1, we're only going to use 10 cards. So take your standard deck of 52 cards, and I have shuffled them up. After shuffling them, I'm going to throw out 10 cards. All right, and so those 10 cards, once I've got them flipped out, I'll call them out, but then we're going to put them in numerical order from least to greatest. So that's what you'll actually write on your game 1 in your 10 boxes, those cards that I flip over from least to greatest. Okay, so the cards that I flipped over are going to be 9 of clubs, 7 of hearts, a jack of hearts, a 4 of spades, a 5 of spades, a 4 of diamonds, a 7 of clubs, an 8 of clubs, a jack of diamonds, and a 9 of diamonds. So now we're going to take those cards and put them in numerical order from least to greatest, and you're going to fill them out in your 10 boxes under game 1 on page 1 of your lab. So in your first box, you're going to put 4 of spades, 4 of diamonds, 5 of spades, 7 of hearts, 7 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 9 of diamonds, 9 of clubs, jack of diamonds, and jack of hearts. Putting them in numerical order will just make finding probabilities a little easier. All right, so now I'm going to take those 10 cards and I'm going to mix them up so that they are in a random order. Once I've mixed them up, I'm now placing them on the table face down, and I'm going to draw 1 card at a time. We are then going to complete your 5 rows of information and find your probabilities. So the first card that I have flipped over is going to be a 9 of diamonds. So in the first row, first column, write 9 of diamonds. Now go up to your 10 cards that you have written in numerical order and mark out the 9 of diamonds. Now you have reduced your sample space from 10 cards to 9 cards. Now the probability that the next card is going to be higher than that 9 of diamonds. In your list of cards, look at the number of cards that are going to be higher than the 9 of diamonds that you've marked out. Those 2 cards that are higher are the jack of diamonds and the jack of hearts. So that is 2 cards out of a sample space of 9. So the probability that the next card is higher is going to be 2 over 9, or 2 9ths. The probability that the next card is going to be lower, so now take a look at the cards to the left of that 9 of diamonds. And I have 6 cards that are to the left of the 9 of diamonds. Those cards being 4 of spades, 4 of diamonds, 5 of spades, 7 of hearts, 7 of clubs, and 8 of clubs. All right, so I have 6 cards out of the sample space of 9, giving me a probability of 6 over 9. When I reduce that fraction, of course, that's going to become 2/3. Now do the probability that the next card has an equal value. Well, there is 1 9 left in my sample space of 9, and that's going to be the 9 of clubs. So my probability that the next card is going to have an equal value to the 9 of diamonds is 1 out of 9. Now take an educated guess. So based on my probabilities, I'm going to guess that the next card I flip over is going to be lower. All right, so let's flip over our second card. The second card that I flip over is going to be the 4 of spades. Let's take a moment and fill out our chart. Go to the top of your list where you have your 10 cards and mark out your 4 of spades. So that gives me now a sample space of 8 cards. That will be your new denominator for this row. How many cards are left that are higher than that 4 of spades? There are 7 cards higher than the 4 of spades that are not marked out. So my probability that it's going to be higher is 7/8. What about the probability that the next card is going to be lower than that 4 of spades? There are 0 cards in my sample space that are lower than a 4 of spades, so my probability is 0. What about the probability that the next card is going to be of equal value? I have a 4 of diamonds. That's the only card that I have that is in my sample space of equal value to the 4 of spades. So that's going to be 1 card out of a sample space of 8, or a probability of 1/8. So my next guess is going to be, based on my probabilities, higher. I believe that my next card I flip over will be higher. But I also need to go back and fill in that first row, last column. From the 9 of diamonds to the 4 of spades, we believed that we would have a lower card. Was my guess correct, yes or no? And of course my answer for that would be yes. The next card I flip over is a 4 of diamonds. Take a moment, pause the video, and fill out your rows. And of course, if I go back and look from the 4 of spades to the 4 of diamonds, my guess was that I would draw higher. I did not draw higher, so in that column I write no. The next card that I flip over is a 9 of clubs. Take a moment, pause the video, and complete your probabilities as well as your guess. The next card that I flip over is a Jack of Hearts. Take just a moment, fill out your probabilities and your guess. And of course, that last column in the very last row will not have an answer since we're not drawing a 6th card to know whether your guess was right or not. Keep in mind as you play this game some helpful hints from your lab sheet. We're going to leave these probabilities in fractions because it will make your probabilities a little easier to look at. Also remember that an ace is a low card, or the equivalent of a 1. So once you've completed Game 1, you're now going to answer a couple questions based on Game 1's results. After you've answered those questions, we'll now move to Game 2. In Game 2, we now take the entire deck of 52 cards, shuffle them, and then turn them face down. So we'll now play with all 52 cards. This is where you'll fill out your next table on Game 2, and then of course answer some questions based on Game 2's results.